Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, 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 on the groove. Hey, on the groove. Hey, on the groove. If we could turn off the music, please. Thank you. Hey, 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 ah, ah, When winter speaks, I'm waiting, I'm waiting to learn what winter has to teach me, has to teach us. Winter's always speaking, always teaching. Winter says, when you're surrounded by cold, find what warms you. A fire, a coat, a cuddle, a poem. Winter says, when life feels like a blizzard. Winter says, when life feels like a blizzard. Where's your shelter? Could it be the warmth of your heart? Could it be the warmth of your poem? Wintertime is a good time to harness all we've harvested. Winter asks when it is that snow and ice are your friends. I'm waiting for snow to cool all hate and ignorance. When snow falls silently, may hate and ignorance go silent to love, to peace. I'm waiting for ice, capital I, capital C, capital E, ice, to stop deporting human beings fleeing from dictators and disasters. I'm waiting for quacks of ducks to swim to swans, sing healing songs for my Mother Earth. I'm waiting for electric cars to be the norm, millions cooling her fever. Mother Earth has a fever, restoring glaciers and poles, her crown no longer melting to the touch. I'm tapping my foot, drumming my fingers, waiting for my nation to harvest a year of peace, a year of hope for all of us. I'm waiting for the gray whales to bless this and every Yule, so war will be only a nightmare of past greed and errors. I'm waiting for more youth and women to vote, so my nation will have laws that protect sacred sentences between women, their bodies, and pediatricians. I'm waiting for my nation to remember that Iroquois women chose the chiefs, then removed them if poor decisions injured the tribe. Poor morality can injure all of us. I'm waiting for the goose steppers to be slapped with consequences. The goose steppers. Consequences for orphaning children to sob and suffer in cages and called it humane. Winter is always speaking. It says, turn off your damn cell phone. Winter is always speaking, always teaching, if only we will listen. Winter's a good time to apply all we have harvested. What seeds of love and kindness did you plant in the spring? Welcome to Second Sunday Jihmye Poetry, open mic. We are famous for the introduction of the egg timer. That means you have 5 minutes or 2 poems, and when this goes off, kindly sit down, stop your poem, wrap it up, because there's a lot of people waiting to read. And we have a history of being kind to each other here. That there's people waiting to read. So you had your egg timer time. So go ahead and sit down and listen. So we thank you for being kind like that. This is Jimmy Collins. And there used to be murals of his all over the place, but Frank did 2 things. Frank Moody is our owner. And can we get Frank? He's over there eating food. Yeah, brand new white tables for all of us. He went and made sure we feel like we're in Spiffy. So thank you, Frank, for doing that. I have the sign-up list here. If you came in a little late, please put your name on the sign-up list. And can we give some love to everybody that's on Zoom? And so if you're on Zoom and you would like to read, if you go into the chat room and let Alfred Williams, our engineer, is here. Let's give him some love. And he's going to do the first poem, and he has put together AI, and he's taken one of Joe Melanch's poems and put it into AI. So you'll hear Joe's poem with these AI images, and I love you for doing that. It's an amazing poem. I've seen it. That's Alfred Williams. He's amazing with electronics, and he's also, there's no walls, there's no boundaries between disciplines. So he has combined a poem with science, and we love him for that. Thank you, Alfred. If you need to go use the restroom, it's right back here. Avail yourself to the best deli, I think, in La Mesa. There's coffee, wine, and beer over there too. And so please support the patron of us being here. We've been here on and off since 2011. Jimmy Collins was a Black Panther back in Indianapolis back in the day. He would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he would go to a kitchen and he would cook food for children children from all cultures, not just Black children, but children from all cultures that were going to go to school hungry. And then when that was over, he would go out and he would do clothing drives. Or later on in the day, he would go around for elders that were too sick to get their medication. He would go get their medications for them. The Black Panthers had a 10-point item for recovery for people of color, not just for Black people. And I'm sure which our Congress would adopt that for us, because it was really for all people. The Black Panther Party of Self-Defense, and Jimmy Collins was a great member of that organization. And his spirit is with us now today. Because as you notice what it says here, I got this at the Beat Museum in San Francisco. This place that you're in right now is for all races, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you, and we want you to be safe here. I want you to feel comfortable here. So thank you for coming. We appreciate all of you. Our feature is here, Sylvia Telefaro. Finally there. So we're gonna have 14 poets, so 7 poets will read, and then we'll have her do her feature. I think I'm forgetting, I got the egg timer down. And so are you ready for some poetry?
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with Mr. Williams. And this is, like I said, it's Joe Malash. Joe, raise your hand. Joe Malash, he's way back there, it's Mr. Shy Man. This is his poem, and Alfred just made it on steroids. So here we go.
Is running slowly today.
Anitra Carroll Smith, when she does her poem today, she's going to play keyboards, but she's also willing to back you up on your poem and play the flute, if you would like a flautist to make your poem be real pretty. Anita, raise your hand, please. Where are you? Right over there. The hats are donation, whatever donation you want to make. I was walking through a park one day wearing one of these hats, and the guy goes, "Are you mega? Are you mega?" I said, "Hell no." He went like this. So push back. Also, Steve Cowett's Intifada is right over there, and that's also a donation. That's Mary Cowett, his widow's wish, that if you wanted to purchase that book-length poem or the hats, it's donation, and we'll donate that money to the Palestinian organizations helping Palestinian students here in the United States. And these over here, these are all Steve Cowett's poems that were put into art. And we ask you to only take one of each. If you want to take them, those are all free. And Mary wanted his art to be distributed because we miss his voice.
And since we do have a lot of people to go by, I'll just do one poem. Because I was blessed by the beats in the holy temple of city lights, slammed by the word speakers in Seattle. The star bars sparkled in my eyes, perused in the tent of hissing spoken word. I was saved in San Diego by the poet's tree. Sangria Liz dazzled me with hot Spanish mix in my cool blue skin. She left my heart beating like a flamenco dancer's shoes. Oracle Mark waits at the intersection of Park and Washington. The angst of Market Street still on the southern comfort lips, hovering over me, smelling of a bad woman in a deep blue dress. Are you a poet, man? He kept saying. Are you a poet? Man, I feel deliverance moving in, sprouting hairs from my chin. My hands stroke bongos, my hip feet got the beat. Down the sidewalks past Kerouac's alley. He was out with Sally, drinking again, thinking about going to Mexico. Alan was howling in the fog that blanketed North Beach. Bukowski slumped in a hotel, lost soul, saying that poetry just saved his ass. Ferlinghetti lives in city lights, spends nights painting pictures by the window. My feet hit the street, I was out there, way out there, man, silver plating, giving me wings, a bag full of word things, stealing from a shuttle and throwing me home. Dangerous Dan, the word man. He met me at the gate, said I'd be late for a meeting readers. Exceedingly tired, I pulled my coat hat down. The poet man was back in town. Oh, Jim, I supposed to wait for that to ding and then sit down like this, like, is that what I'm supposed to do? Oh, I'm sorry.
Poets are so creative. Cora Gray, where are you? Cora, you here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's give some love. Oh, he's ready. Okay, here we go. Cora, hold on a second.
First spring after your passing, I looked out our bedroom window at the orange tree. As I blanketed our bed with the around of pencil clothes. I recall the times we used to lie and spend the weekend in the afternoon. I experienced there used to be. Covered us like the sadness. The cricket has found his way to it seems time is over. How can I find you?
That's a poem by,
No boundaries between disciplines. Give some love for Joe Malash and Alfred Williams, please. Amazing art. That was the course for his beloved Patsy. Passed away from breast cancer. Okay. Cora, you ready? She's a Navy veteran and she's a hell of a writer. This is Cora Gray.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Cora. I have one solemn poem for you, and then maybe a razor if we have time. If you don't know biology, I can run through the definitions with you later. I just want to hold that in here. This is called bearing a fruit. The early blush of blue flushes across hills that have stratified between seasonal laments. Born too early, like the roseate lips that feed vacant lusts which pass by budding fruits, ready to claim senescence in June. In the summer, the naked sun bakes flesh, perspiration deters bounty, which entices the hunter's gaze to glance, to reflect, far from the comforts of these meager buds. Winter's flush, too small to sustain any lust, inadequate beside the seaside songs and perfect flowers which bloom naturally without intervening medicine. And though a chill rain spring tempts desire from the hordes of distempered loves, amour, the touch of a hand, the sweetness on a cold wind. They brush the morning with a whispering flame which altogether fades upon disclosure of incongruence, incompletion. A display of color with void promises of perennial countenance or genetic infertility. I find that these hills, with their bluebells collecting frozen envy, mirrors the sense of dysphoric belonging that I tend with care and longing within the cells that house my spirit. But what am I but a flower, without ovule or ovary, no receptive cavity to claim eternal desire? I shall never bear fruit, nor offspring, like the flowers around me here so easily do. I'm gonna run through this real quick, if I have time. Who's to say where the liar's game originates? Did it really begin with Abel and Cain, or was it inherently there in the simian brain? Long before we ever stood on two legs and drank the Kool-Aid falling from the pitcher, passed down by the preacher who paid the plumber to paint his portrait in gold and silver. I ponder these premonitions of presidents reigning power with an outstretched palm, while the masses struggling in classes misconstrue basic pronouns, a biological phenomenon. Meanwhile, our students now use artificial intelligence to pass their final exams, but the minute hand has expired, the golden path has been retired, the critical thinking is no longer desired. While we still have Instagram, converting the people to have prejudice, echoing the gospels that match their far-right rhetoric, violating our private rights, banning all of our eyes on Palestine, hiding the truth, exposing you, sculpting our brains just as smooth as Play-Doh. Meanwhile, journalism thrives on political free throws. I mean, if it's a game show, they have a perfect tempo. If it's a Fargo, they make it hypno. If it's a black boy in the streets, only a pistol will keep the peace, and we know, and it shows, that the anchor man wants the era of Jim Crow on repeat. Let freedom take a seat. Let the masses make believe that the homeless eat for free. Let the peons and nosebleeds purchase dreams that they'll never, ever see. Let the criminals run the beat. Replace the workforce with machines. Put the farmhands into prison where modern slavery makes us green. Benjamin bills into wallets. Stocks and shares increase profits. Profiteering, no restrictions. Justice jury, no convictions. No jurisdiction or malediction. United States is our affliction, our addiction to the compromise of comforts that we idolize and trivialize, selling the good years of our time to collect about a dozen pennies in our pockets that are printed, minted, grifted for $1, while every day the world gets smaller, and every day the rich get taller, and every day the world gets smaller, and every hour the rich get taller, and every day the world gets smaller, and every minute the rich get taller, and every day the world gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, until there's no one left to lie to. And the last one standing has nothing but the truth. Thank you so much.
Much more love for Cora, please.
All right.
We're gonna start blending in the people on Zoom with people in the room. Oh. But this is a birthday boy we're bringing up next. And I heard a vicious rumor that him and Jihmye are both 39 years old now. This is Chris Ernest Nelson.
Indeed. You won't need the timer, I'm going to be brief. Ladies and gentlemen, good to see you all, and I love the energy in today's room. I brought some of my 6th edition. Do not have to ask, just pick one up on the table over here, it's already been signed. 540 some pages, 6 feet
Stacy,
book for you.
Dyson,
For you.
and Julio.
Here's an example of what's in there. I'll try not to shame myself.
Stacy, Dyson,
Nothing,
Julio.
I'm Chris Ernest Nelson, and this is nothing to fix. So much left unsaid, so much unresolved.
So far.
So many heartbreaks unacknowledged, so many hopes undiscovered, so many sleepless nights with uneasy dreams, so many memories that happened and others that didn't. Weave the synapses of a dissatisfied mind. If there was any love at all, there is nothing to fix. If there was no love at all, there's nothing to fix. And this is I thirst. I pass rivers and seas, and yet I thirst for one drop of water. It is always like that. What I possess in abundance is of little worth. Yes, even the greatest treasure is vain. But that one thing I desire most, that one who will accept my love, waits alone at the window, looking away, always looking away to the river, to the sea. Thank you for listening.
You've been around San Diego any period of time, you know that when Stacy Dyson has her group read their poetry over at South Park area, or when she performs, it's fasten your seatbelt. This is Stacy Dyson.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Cool. Just one for you today. I'm sorry I can't be there. I'm in New Mexico now. I kind of miss San Diego. The tears don't help you do the work. They blur the screen, leave you trying to scrub wet salt and horror off your hands. Recreate, reinvent the memory of every other pain you've tried to write away. Your voice gets hoarse. Your instrument becomes your torment because you can't cry. It strangles the syllables. You can't breathe shallow. You need the air in your passages to tell the truth. And anyway, what good does it do? Your sisters still get shot for going about their lives for no good reason. Going about their lives. I am tired of writing poems mourning Black women who are just minding their own damned business. You read the reports and your eyes begin to burn, and there is no use in crying. Crying doesn't stop bullets. Crying doesn't stop insanity. Crying doesn't stop the threat of being murdered for playing games with children, smoking a cigarette, boiling water, sleeping. But you have to know, You have to read the reports and watch the videos and suffer. You have to feel like the weight of 1,000 years is never going to be off your shoulders because their names need to be said at least once in celebration of their lives, just once in celebration of their lives, not as martyr or icon or the reason for a revolution, just spoken as person, as people, as we.
The roses pinned in long silky hair. Better for him to chop his childhood memories into slivers of wood and start a fire beneath the white cylinder used to heat water in the room of his recurring dream. The one with images of knotted ropes dangling from cliff trees. It would have been better to find himself in another dream, wandering the streets and writing his poems behind the faces painted on the underside of bridges, than to see the unmasking of in-your-face hatred. Today, no one can pretend to be above it anymore, and our poems lead trapdoors leading to underground tunnels, identified by the skeletons nailed upright with their mouths full of worms. Today, he writes of rivers and creeks because he can hardly bear to think of the new fascism that is heavy like the mountains and makes it hard not to fear the earth's weight. Did the Tao say everywhere man is dust and death and is groaning as wind in a seashell? It doesn't matter. For in this time of the new red and black, there is no way to know if his country will survive or if the doors of poetry are closing. Thank you.
Joe will be here next Sunday at 2 o'clock with the brigade. And our event is called Pushing Back with Poetry. And it might fit your budget, it's free. And we hope we see some of you here. Like today, we'll be recording and putting it on the internet because we have to push back against this fascism. We just have to push back in our own way. What I forgot to bring today, I received in the mail yesterday, there are some red cards that you can order on the internet that will be in English and Spanish. They also make other languages, English and other languages, for people who are undocumented, what they can say to a nice person who's profiling them. But they don't have to talk, they don't have to answer any questions. You have to have a warrant to come into this abode. And we want to give them some ammunition to push back through. So hopefully we'll see you next Sunday. And we'll all be here to have some social justice poetry. Julio Cesar Aguilar is a professor at Baylor University in Texas. And he has adopted us. He's going to read English and Spanish poetry now. Julio, you ready?
Yes, thank you, Jim and Alfred and everyone. I'm going to read two short poetic proses in English and Spanish, as Jim said. Dones de primavera. Un rebaño de nubes negras pasea por el cielo, ensombreciéndolo, mordisqueando la luz vespertina de un sol ya tibio que, poco a poco, conforme descienden las nubes maduras y sueltan sus frutos de agua, se ausenta de nuestros ojos. De todas las flores del patio, las rosas blancas dan la más feliz bienvenida a la primer lluvia de la primavera. Tal vez las rosas ya sabían que vendría pronto, porque desde esta mañana, cuando me acerqué a ellas, las vi como nunca en su plenitud. Al pasar por la bugambilia, el viento, en su afán de conquistar todo el patio, dulcemente la recorre, la envuelve bajo sus brazos de fino estremecimiento y le desnuda apenas unas ramas, dejando caer al suelo algunas cuantas flores con las que jugará a corretearlas después. Menudas gotas rápido se consumen, desaparecen, pero a pausas no cesan de caer. Siento entonces húmeda el alma, tierra propicia donde han de crecer, como divinos dones de perdurable fragancia, las más olorosas hierbas de la primavera. Gifts of spring, a flock of black clouds ambles across the sky, shading it, nibbling on the evening light of an already warm sun, which, little by little, as the mature clouds descend and release their fruits of water, disappears from our eyes. Of all the flowers in the yard, white roses give the happiest welcome to the first rain of spring. Maybe the roses already knew that it would come soon, because since this morning, when I approached them, I saw them, like never before, in their fullness. When passing by the bougainvillea, the wind, in its eagerness to conquer the entire patio, sweetly runs through it, wraps it under its arms of fine trembling, and strips just a few branches, letting some flowers fall to the ground, to play chase with them later. Little drops quickly consume themselves, disappear, but with pauses, they do not stop falling. Then I feel my soul dampen, a propitious land where the most fragrant herbs of spring must grow, like divine gifts of lasting fragrance. El canelo. Tuve la fortuna de no verlo morir, aunque tampoco, después de muerto, acudí a verlo, y ni me hubiera gustado. Es cierto, como dicen, la muerte llega callada, silenciosa, sin hacer ruido. El último día que anduvo por el patio fue solo para darnos la noticia de su partida. Trabajosamente, ya sin fuerzas, se echaba en un rincón empeñándose en prolongar su hálito, y con su quejido salpicaba, de vez en vez, la quietud de la mañana lluviosa, haciéndola aún más triste. La agonía fue breve. Para antes del mediodía ya estaba en completo silencio el fulgor de sus ojos. Y ahora, desde aquel adiós, van y vienen los gatos olfateando esa ausencia y buscan entre los escombros algún rastro, alguna huella. Estéril parece la búsqueda, pero no, pues bajo su admiración elevan siempre la mirada cuando escuchan, como a un lamento, el remoto eco de unos ladridos. Canelo. I had the good fortune to not see him die, although after he died, I didn't go to see him either, and I wouldn't have liked to. It is true, as they say, death comes close-mouthed, silently, without making noise. The last day he roamed around the yard, it was only to give us the news of his departure. Laboriously, already without strength, he would lie down in a corner, trying to prolong his breathing, and with his moan he punctuated, from time to time, the stillness of the rainy morning, making it even sadder. The agony was brief. By noon the brilliance of his eyes was already completely silent. And now, since that goodbye, the cats come and go, sniffing that absence and searching among the rubble for some trace, some footprint. The search seems sterile, but no, because under their admiration, they always raise their gaze when they hear, like a lament, the remote echo of barking. Thank you very much.
You need a minute to adjust the volume and all that? That doesn't feel like it's distorting now, does it? Does it sound the same?
Oh, it sounds better.
Sounds a little better, doesn't it? Okay. My neighbor that lives behind me is also a Navy veteran. And I was supposed to give him a ride today and I forgot. So, I probably will find something under my door when I get home.
No, no.
This is Michael Turner Ortega. Works in the mental health community, teaching poetry. And another fellow Vietnam veteran, Michael Turner Ortega.
I'm happily retired from the teaching stuff. And this winter, only one poem came about because I was busy hibernating. Flying in real time, drawn to the idea of inclusion, my questions have been rigged. Tend to be serious as a thought experiment in some star system far away with sleep deprivation and architectural lifetime, an archetypical lifetime in translucence makes better sense. Inside a setting moon distributes an idea that sways with the wind. Seeds sown all over the land in some character plot lying softly on a fertile earth, wastes easily. The air doesn't hold its breath. A hand reaches out, touches sunlight, its departure from reality, becoming pitiful two-legged creatures, replicated through words, forming clans, refused by intellect and desire. We are all light. I'm sparkling in the landscape. I found my place.
Jack Stewart Smith is the retired pipe fitter. I think he's a master carpenter, plumber, etc. Writes a heck of a poem, and he's also a musician, and he is our sound man here. So a man of many hats, Jack Stewart Smith, come on up.
I own one of those hats, by the way. I got a lesson. Hello, family. I love you all. I'm gonna start out with a love poem to this precious woman over here that puts up with me every day, Bonnie. Have you? Have you felt the wind blow, my love, recently? I have. Is it enough to say I love you? These days, these moments, these are times that we will always remember. Peacefulness for some is so hard to gain because in a world of chaos, we can forget what really matters. And you, my love, really do matter. We have straight starlight between us, and it's important for us to remember, for time is an elusive game, and our unquestionable love has always kindled flames of desire, unquenchable fire. Stay with me swiftly, my love, unless we forget that tomorrow may never come, or that we misunderstand that our clock is always ticking. Though the end of our day approaches us, dear one, we remain. For we are on a quest, fabulous journey. We are prepared to walk many a mile together. So now, let us begin. with cheers and with laughter, with peace in our hearts, for the goal before us is the togetherness we share today. I have seen your tears, and I know in my heart you are that precious friend that I always desired. Such a sweet friend, a soft-spoken lover, the girl of my dreams. Let us be off now. It's time. Now a poem for everyone here. This is a poem to all poets and those that are like-minded. Hey, warrior, pick up your sword. Do not tell me you've lost it. We need you in this battle. Shape yourself. Do you not remember those days of peace, those nights that lingered through September? Do you still hear our ancestors crying? Let them not bemoan our existence. Stand tall, warrior. It's time. Be proud. You know what we stand for. Does not your heart still beat inside you? Listen now. Hear the call of our friends, the ravens. Whether it be your first day to test you or whether you are an old veteran, if you are not represented, you will be sorely missed. Let us be moving. Remember those days in the front line you fought bravely, without fear or regard for your own well-being. Remember, dear warrior, pick up your sword. May the gods have mercy on you. May Odin keep you. May Thor be with you. May Saturn, the moon, and the sun remind you, you are not alone. We need not shed one tear now. We will save our tears for the great celebration. We will give everything, every ounce of our strength, imagination, and creativity. Hey, warrior, come now quickly. Let us run with haste and determination. Valhalla will one day bless us. As for today, dear friend, pick up your sword.
We have another Navy vet coming up to the microphone right now. David Legenhorst is with us. He's always with us. We always enjoy what he writes, and he always writes from his heart. David Legenhorst, come on up.
Don't fall down.
Jim, that stage is a fall hazard.
I've been known to fall down, so. Okay. Thank you, Jim. It's an honor to be among all of you. People who are changing the world for the better using words. And in honor of International Women's Day, I'm going to read a poem written by one of our female poems. But before that, I have to honor the young lady over here. Yeah. She's been my bride for 58 years and 10 months. We're almost at 59. We're going for 100. This poem is by a young lady that many of you knew. Unfortunately, we lost her several years ago. Her name is Leslie Beebe. Oops, I got the wrong poem. I need to use this one. This is Hawkeye Summer by Leslie Beebe. As a little girl, I spent my summers in a magical land. No, it wasn't Europe, Asia, or swimming in the crystal blue waters of the Aegean Sea. Where was this place that lured me in with its endless fields filled with rows upon rows of corn planted in the rich black soil where no trees broke the wind's path as it ripped across the plains, where the thunderstorms rolled in and sometimes raged throughout the night, and you had to pray that there was no funnel cloud in sight. Have you guessed yet? Why, it was the Hawkeye State, Iowa. In a town of 8,000, I ran wild and free. 3 glorious months we lived in the big white house. We'd awaken to a posse of children waiting for us to come outside and play. Many a day I spent at the library, immersed in tomes of the written word. I'd be the last to leave, my arms laden with countless carefully selected books, and I'd fill up my bike basket, and off I'd go pedaling furiously into that late afternoon sun. I'd ride by great grandma's house. There she'd be sitting outside. She'd wave to me. I'd yell, "Hi, great grandma." Her eyes would sparkle as she waved and yelled back, "Hi, Leslie Beebe." Great Aunt Minnie lived in a little pink house by the white footbridge with Uncle Clark, her hands painfully gnarled by arthritis. Still, she'd cut out perfect strands of paper dolls, enthralling 2 little California girls. Early morning, loud knocking, it's Grandpa Don. He has twinkly blue eyes. "Hey kid, is your mom awake?" "He wants coffee." "But I don't know how to make it, I'm 10 years old." Iowa summers are like Narnia. You can only go there if you were a child. At some point, the wardrobe closes. In my memory, it's all there. Diving off the high dive, eating mulberries off the trees, innumerable library books, not a care in the world. I can see how green it is, how black the earth is, how blue Grandpa's eyes are. Most of all, I think of a little girl, her waist-length hair pulled into a messy ponytail, riding her bike, her legs pumping furiously, basket overflowing with books, riding through the streets by the Cedar River in a tiny northeastern Iowa town called Waverly. And now I'll tell you a little bit more if I have time. I was raised in a little Iowa town on the northwestern side of the country, of the state, a little town of 4,000 people. Her poem really grabs me because it brings back all those memories. When I was a kid, I lived in the library too. Unfortunately, Leslie, I didn't know Leslie for a long time, but we bonded because Leslie was deeply depressed and I had just come out of a depression. Unfortunately, she didn't come out of it. She succumbed to it. So anyway, after she died, I wrote this one, and it's called When Poems Die. And the story is she lived with a man for 24 years and he got cancer and died. And it was about her birthday. The last time I saw her was at Deborah's Poets at the Bench in Balboa Park. And she read her poem about when we found out. And she was very, very melancholy. Within a few weeks, she was gone. Anyway, I wrote this poem, When Poems Die. I heard her words, but softly. Saw the pain deep in those eyes, with her sadness overwhelming. All the words just muted cries. The universe had other plans, not together evermore. The void creates another void. All had stopped at 24. Warm summers in the house of white, happy child in love with words. In spring, 2 kindred souls will meet, spirits soaring with the birds. A life fulfilled with love and joy, unfolding like a poem. Till autumn leaves and fortunes fall, leaving hearts without a home. Her love, her life, to be no more. An empty, hollow feeling. She spends her days in memories. Just can't begin it. Thank you. Let's go.
I believe Karen Hall, it's her first time reading here. It's not her first time reading here, but she's going to read to you now. Here she is.
I read here about 3 years ago, and I've been extremely busy between then and now. I've been sitting back here listening to the most incredibly intense political I'm not in mechanics. There are powder puff mechanics for those young ladies who want to fix their cars, and it is a lessening of the intensity. My poems, the ones that I brought with me, are not political. The one that I would like to read first is very personal. Thank goodness it's written in iambic pentameter, so I am on some level, at the same kind of level. My father was an English professor. I did my 3rd grade homework out of an unabridged dictionary. And so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm supposed to be introducing your next writer, who is this wonderful, joyful lady I just met recently. I'm going to read my portrait poem, and then I'm going to read 2 funny ones, and then she is going to take you someplace else. But I would like to take you to a pleasant little place.
Karen, you have 5 minutes.
Yes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read my 2. I'm not going to read my portrait. I'm only going to read the funny ones. Vegan. Do I want to be a vegan? I'm really not too sure. I'd really miss the butter and other foods. There's more. Like chicken when it's barbecued, and then there's chocolate cake. Without the eggs, it's hard as rock. There's other things I'd make. Like sweet, a hot fudge sundae, already missing that, for vegan is much healthier. I'm just a little fat. Taxes. I need to do my taxes again another year. I read the new instructions. Oh crap, it's bad, I fear. That I just cannot do them, it's complicated now. And when I read the things I need, I'd rather have a cow. You see, I need directions. I have to make a list. And as I sit and think of it, it really makes me sick. You see, I cannot do it. I really don't know why. It happens not too often. I shouldn't even try. You see, I'm mostly competent. I do things really well. But when it comes to taxes, I think I need to tell my tax accountant to do it. Sorry. How much time do I have left?
Couple minutes.
Couple minutes? Okay. Okay. This is my portrait. She sat in glory, tongue well twist, with matching leathers, gold at wrist, coordinate with latest style. 'Tis femme at best, demure sweet smile. Could cook souffle, could hike for miles, and brought out children sweet no smiles. But favorite part for lover dear was way she called out loud and clear. Beneath that velvet hid a siren, the softest call in words from Byron. And when she pulled out secret stuff, the edge still muted, but manner rough her. She knew her wants, her needs, her power, and sometimes called from distant tower, the ivory kind, all well versed, at tender age was well rehearsed. She's older now and better still, there's ways she sits on distant hill, and watches choosing her best part, in satchel close, she carries heart. In satchel closely held at tip, she opens swiftly, slowly, catches glimpse of heart that beats, slight bruises show, but better yet is way she knows. Yes, heart and satchel great import, She takes it out, but not in sport, too precious for the dastard deed, wrapped warm in cloth, not weaved in speed. She takes it out for moment's passion, she shares with children still in fashion, and friends she finds in niches close, a walk at night, the hitching post. Alone no lover passion calls, thighs poised close, but laughter falls from lips full kiss and life's fresh past. Deserted more, but not so fast. And now, and old enough to take her time and write these poems in power rhyme, she opens satchel at her hip, spotted pretty, opens lips. Thank you.
Hiram Sims has a institute in LA. And he and I have talked on the phone. He brought some of his poets here last year. And he is an expert in getting you published. That's what he wants to do. He wants nascent or seasoned poets to get published. And so he's behind Sylvia's book being doing her book launching today. And I'd like him to come up and talk about his institute. And then he'll go ahead and go ahead and do that. So this is Hiram Sims. Come on up, sir.
How's everybody doing today? Okay, one more thing.
He talked about when I'm at the great poetry reading in the sky, and I'm no longer with you. We talked about Hiram coming and being the host when I'm not here anymore, and he wants this to continue, and I thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. To Los Angeles to be here for this incredible book release for Sylvia Telefaro. She is an alumni of the San Diego chapter of CLI. And we have 9 different chapters in different parts of the country. But according to her, San Diego is the best chapter, right? Sylvia produces the best poets who are the best good looking, right? That's what she told me earlier today. We also, up in LA, created the Sims Library of Poetry, which boasts a collection of 10,000 books of poetry. And some of your books are in that library that I have gotten here. Yeah. And Sylvia kind of reminds me of a lot of my aunties and uncles, and, in the fact that, like sometimes older Black people say crazy stuff that young people don't understand. Like my auntie said, the only thing open after 11 is liquor stores and legs. I was like, what are you talking about? So I wrote this poem called Like the Old Folks Used to Say. When I was rushing, my pauses like we had a stable, like our land was stable, like we had some land, like Crenshaw got horses or land or stability. When we got new clothes, my auntie would say, you eating high on the hog, like we had pigs or slop to feed them with, or knew the difference between high or low on such a hog, like we had space to raise an animal we could eat on a balcony, like we had a smokehouse to cure the meat in, like we had a cure for how we have to live in this city sometimes. When I was write a check, your ass can't cash. Like she had cash, like she had checks or a checking account, like she never accounted for all her checks that were apparently made out of rubber, the way they bounced and bounced. Like she asked every family member she wrote a check to wait until the 15th to cash it, and neither her bank nor her ass could cash it. And who hasn't asked that cashes checks anyway? My grandma, when trying to call me broke at 19, told me, you ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And she was right, but what a nasty thing to do. What kind of people lived on her street that were constantly throwing piss out the window? Grandma, you got a 3-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms and 2 beautiful toilets. So if I ever see you dressed, hiked up, hunched over a pot, trying to piss in it, I am never coming to visit you again. Thank you. And now the woman of the hour. I want to read a little bit of the bio that she has here. And then, but before I read the bio, I just want to say, Sylvia, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. You know, like what an incredible accomplishment. Writing a book, it takes years, you know, and what a blessing for your grandbaby to be here. You know, watching her grandmother publish a book. The book is called Innovations, Illusions, Devices, and Desires. Sylvia Cameron Telefaro is an award-winning fiction writer, poet, storyteller, and grassroots social justice activist. She is the current president of the African American Writers and Artists and Company of San Diego and membership coordinator for the Friends of the Malcolm X Library. She has spent the last 20 years also working at her day job in social service and child welfare administration. Sylvia has had poetry and short stories published in several magazines and anthologies, including SDSU School of Social Work textbook, Cultural Pluralism. She was also published in the Social Work Journal, HBSC Special Edition, for her award-winning piece on the killing of Michael J. Brown. Sylvia lives in San Diego, California. She has 2 children and 1 grandson, 7 granddaughters, 3 great-granddaughters, and 1 great-grandson. Please put your hands together for Sylvia Telefaro.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get that ready.
Okay.
She's got a chair. She got a chair over there. Yeah. To the left of the stage, there's a chair.
I reached into this big white box that was filled with coded secret messages, and it was labeled confidential, confidential. Ultimately, and with the fear of being watched by unseen eyes, I groped around in darkness until I grasped one of those messages. I decoded it, and I came up with potential. And like a black widow, blessed with the art of agility, I took that one secret message and I began to web it. I webbed it around initiative, ambition, inspiration, and creativity. But even while accomplishing this amazing feat, I sensed the danger of being a part of this big white box and becoming a part of it. Yet I ignored that omen. And I took that chance and I mingled with the content of this big white box. And I still emerged purpose. Black woman. Thank you. My name is Sylvia Cameron Telefaro. I'm so happy to be here. I can't believe y'all came out to see me. I got stuff for you though in this box. Okay. Today, this is March, a beautiful day. It's also Women's History Month. And yesterday was International Women's Day. It was also my granddaughter's birthday. Tomorrow. I was a guardian grandparent, and Samara was the last one that I sent off to the university. She's been there with a 4.5, still maintaining in her second year. And so I just want to say happy birthday to Samara. And also I want to share this piece to remind her to not forget where she came from. And also to remember that her spirits, they run deep. This piece is entitled Spirits Running Deep. I am much more than this black face you see. There's so much within me than the skin that I'm in. What I possess, it runs, flows, grows, and involves. And beneath, there's no superficiality. I refuse to subscribe to being ordained or fitting into your boxes. I'm much too free-spirited to let my bright light flicker or even become dim from your ignorance. Can you see? I am the legacy of Malcolm X, Martin, Mandela, Garvey, W.E.B., and Sojourner Truth. Because I believe in truth. Truth that shaped my existence. I am shaped. Angela Davis, Harriet Tubman, and sometimes I feel like Mobile, top position by my position, falsely imprisoned. All these spirits are running deep within me, and I'm growing beautiful roots. I am the product of civil rights, anti-war movement, feminist movement, labor unions. Can y'all see revolution blazing in my eyes? I'm an outspoken, naturally, graciously define the rules, yet appreciating all, even those that may hate and judge me. And contrary to popular belief, my roots run deep. I can trace them back to Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, just to name a few. But I am not so proud that I can't acknowledge you. My roots run deep though, teaching me the benefits of learning about different cultures that makes life meaningful. People that manifest beauty by being unique. So don't think you can classify me, identify me, or wrap your mind around who you think I should be, because I'm simply me. The roots running much deeper than you'll ever see. And beneath, I'm a woman. You know, I was a guardian grandmother for like 4 years or more. I can't remember. Seems like I've always been a guardian grandma. But full time. And all of a sudden, I was like, had 3 children that I needed to take care of, and I live in a little house. But anyway, I stumbled upon the YMCA kinship group. Them grandmas, them grandmothers had figured out a way to take care of these grandkids, and they had tools to teach them. I was so inspired from them. Any kinship people in the house, set up kinship grandma. It's so great that they inspired this piece. And this piece is entitled The Believers in You. And it's dedicated to the YMCA Kinship Grandmothers, Central San Diego. Remember that, huh? You need to figure out San Diego territory. Then you'll know where we at. Anyway, just saying. Grandmothers are believers in you. The believers in you teach you to believe in yourself. Grandmothers look at your entire universe and they see something you don't see. They do their best to allay the doubt in you, the hurt in you, the loss in you, the fear in you. So you will recognize the good in you, the ocean in you. And when the ground is soft, grandmothers are that stable foot. While you journey to know yourself, they hold up the mirror when life undo you and thrashes your neck. They are the glue, the sticky stick around loyalty that you know you can do this. They are the believers in you. Grandmothers are the human band-aids that come gently to your side to supervise, picking up the pieces, hoping you would recognize the strength in you, the endurance in you, the greatness in you. When you have no words, they talk you through it. When all you hear is words, they just listen. They fill your cup, feed you your favorite food until your belly is warm and full and you're ready to fight that fear in you, that failure in you. And when the river becomes the flood, they are the cedar raps. While you learn to understand, they just sit back and sip coffee and smile. Regardless of how you act, grandmothers are the guides of the eightfold pack who want for you only what you want. They want you to realize all that love in you. Thank you. You know, the last couple of years has been a big challenge for me. I've been challenged the last couple of years has been crazy. Everything right after COVID. The only good thing that happened was my book. After that, everything went health issues. I was like, God, one more thing. Okay, one more thing. But I realized my resilience. I also realized, you know, that there are some people for me and there are some people that's not. Who was it? Maya says, people show you how you are, believe them. Okay, I believe you. But then there were the people that walked with me. And this is, you know, this piece I wrote for my mother, but I want to dedicate this piece to the people that walk with me. You know who you are. And I just want to say to my grandmother and to my daughter-in-law, Tina, thank you for warming my back. It's feeding me food when I cannot see. You walk with me. Every life has its own road to journey. And every song has its own load to carry. But I was never alone in any passages through my life because you walked with me. You were right by my side. You sacrificed yourself from the beginning. You gave a lot on my behalf. You're the best thing that I ever had. I hope you understand that you held my hand. You helped me to be who I am simply because you walked with me in both victory and tragedy. Sometimes you could always see what was down the road. If only I could believe like you believe. If only I had your eyes to see. You lit the path of possibility. You have been one of the great souls that hung with me simply because you walked with me. And when the heartache set in, like dark shadows on your own road, sometimes you only had the strength to carry your own load. Yet somehow, in your own faith, you found the right direction in this life, and you even waited patiently until I followed by your side. You handed me the torch of hope, and now I too have the faith to dream, to believe I can accomplish my goal, and like an eagle, I too will fly one day and soar. I realize now you not only had the will to survive, but you left a legacy in this life. Now I have that hope and faith to dream with the tranquility of a quiet stream. I now feel mentally and spiritually free. Thank you, Mom, for walking with me. Hey, y'all know me, I'm gonna switch up. Cause there's a lot going on in our political environment. And it's like I exist in a world with a big white brick wall, but it can't stop me. Big white brick wall has eyes. They can't see me. It has a nose, yet it cannot detect where I'm coming from. This big white brick wall has arms, yet they never embrace me. It has a mouth, the words from its mouth. Hey, it cannot hurt me. The big white brick wall has legs, but they cannot trample me. Thinking this big brick wall was an inanimate object, I decided to destroy it, then help build it again. But after one puncture, this is a revolution of change. It suddenly became a big white dominant thing. It decided to defend, to protect the wealthy and the status quo. All of a sudden, Trumpism was born. I refuse to touch it. I'm gonna leave that one right there. Who was it? One of the people, the reason why I write today is because of Nikki Giovanni. All right. And my father gave me her book when I was 15, and after then I was just like that. I won't like write like that. He was like, yeah, you can, you right. Nikki says, I cannot change the world. I'm not gonna let the world change me either. He just passed away. She just said that. Guess what? She passed away. And so the piece that I want to do is a nation divided. I wrote this piece, but the political environment.
Microphone.
In the aftermath of an unprecedented election, our nation fought a political civil war. A war to win hearts, souls, and minds with discord. Ignited with misguided passions of perceived moral issues going astray, inflamed by an administration bent on fear-mongering, targeting God, fearing evangelistic participants, misrepresenting one nation under God with liberty and justice, while ignoring liberty in the pursuit of an agenda put in place for only a coveted few. As lies and mistrust impel the rural poor to vote not for their interests, but the interests of the rich. unwittingly widen the gap between the rich and the poor, forsaking themselves in a misguided effort to protect their faith, forsaking their issues of livelihood despite Democratic candidates. As evangelicals testify, we are some totem God-fearing people who value the sanctity of life. A nation has been intentionally divided, perpetrated by administration that can only benefit if our eyes are diverted from the prize. As social issues are created and spirits are elated at the aspect of a hereafter where economics doesn't really matter. An administration cleverly appealing to middle America who first and foremost do not want to sin. And just in case they still couldn't win, they put in redistricting plans. This nation shall remain divided unless we make it clear which values we hold dear, putting faith and real values on the table, embracing the religious groups that also realize the wisdom of separating religion from state, enabling millions of citizens to vote in their own economic interests while still being true to their values and personal faith. As the administration proceeds with the strategy, America will stand alone, one nation, using the shield of God to implement evil political plans. Thank you. You're going along with politics here. Israel and Palestine, and y'all know my issue, Free Palestine. When I heard that humanitarian was gonna not be gone into Gaza until they release their hostages. Okay, that's kind of low. That's no easy solution to this problem. It's been going on too long. But I do know this. We're being suicide bombers. This piece is entitled "To Breed a Suicide Bomber." How do you breed a suicide bomber? Do you bring them up to believe extreme measures are the only way their agenda can be achieved? Or are they slowly produce one incident at a time until it has been instilled? To kill is more of a spiritual journey than an actual crime. Is it more than just outside incidents that contribute to such extreme activity? Can it be an inherent belief that victims of suicide bombers are simply war casualties? Were there suicide bombers before the All-Star Peace Accords? Or were they being bred? Perhaps when legal venues to challenge policies and illegal land confiscation was removed and courts was no longer an option, and Palestine was told they simply had to understand this was no longer their land, now they were of a different state. Suicide bombers were being bred. When constraints were removed, but Israel to use F-16s and American tanks, I think suicide bombers were being bred. When Israel realized that now there would be no American and European intervention if they committed war crimes, when land was occupied one parcel at a time, I said suicide bombers were being bred. When Sharon, who was once denounced for massacre in 1948, studied to be occupied of Israeli state, suddenly became up with a 70% approval rate. Suicide bombers were being bred. When the West Bank unemployment rose to 60% and Palestinians lived on $2 a day, while their Israeli counterparts lived on $20,000 a year, when most Palestinians lived in poverty and fear, suicide bombers were being bred. When there was no interaction between Palestinians and Israelis, no chance to challenge prejudice, no chance to see common similarities of humanities, suicide bombers were being bred. So tell me, how do you breed a suicide bomber? Because suicide bombers are being bred all over America. Suicide bombers are being bred in Iraq, Afghanistan, India, and Pakistan. Suicide bombers are being bred all over this land. Suicide bombers are being bred. And as I breathe in, I feel a new world.
Sylvia, have you got any points in your book yet?
These are all from my book.
Okay, good.
All these poems are from my book. Yeah, all these poems are from my book.
Got 5 minutes left.
Okay, I'm gonna end with this one. Freedom have never came easily. We always had to fight for it. I say, and this one time, I'm gonna end with this, because it's time. There are vibrations in the universe. An echoing of voices solemnly crying out in defense. That the chilling in the wind, a restlessness of spirits that has not yet been revenged, and that a trembling in the trees, a rumbling in the bushes, burning like wild forest fires, igniting minds, hearts, and souls, spirits of our ancestors begging and asking which way you're gonna go. Vibrations echoing globally, uniting feelings of descent from the depressed neighborhoods of America, from Harlem to Watts, from Northwest to Midwest, raging through the South, from Ireland to Cuba, from Haiti to Jamaica, moving rapidly through the jungles of Mother Africa, a whispering of unrest, frustration at our political climate, tainted with global injustice. I hear the vibration say, it's time. Middle despair of poverty, low wage, unemployment, whispers echoing throughout the universe, disturbing our ancestors, indicating, insisting, it's time for a revolution. We will not be taking up arms this time, and there will be no burning down of our neighborhoods. This time, there will be no riding in the streets. And no color lines is going to be drawn, because this time, the children will not be left behind. We're going to be moving in unison to our 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, insisting upon reparations to our local, national, and global community. And our faith is going to be fixed with determination, and our mind is going to be set And our hearts is gonna be cool and still as we march up Capitol Hill. And our fingers gonna be clutching no longer good time, but pulling collectively at the voting poll, letting the whole world know it's time for a revolution. A revolution to deconstruct and uproot the structures of a white racist privileged society, institutionalized racism and police brutality. We will be dismantling prison walls that have replaced slave plantations in this nation. And we will be insistent upon health care for all, living wage jobs, and education for all. We will be implementing global racial equality. You will know when you're ready to join us, because that's going to be a quickening in your spirit, a chilling on your arms, and your mind is going to be keen as you participate in spontaneous global civil disobedience. That will be no business that you just a rise in consciousness, a new kind of revolution. That would be a vibration in the core of the universe, beckoning you, come put down your arms and come join this revolution. This time, we will find permanent global solution. And you'll know when you're ready, because you'll receive an email. It might be on Facebook, you might get a phone call. It's just gonna say, "It's time."
Oh, okay.
We have a little piece you want to do. Take it away.
Oh, yes, African American writers and artists is I've been president for the past 20 some years. And since Jimmy died, 2011, we have not been active. So now we have a new president, and I'm gonna pass the torch to him today. So I'm gonna ask Prince Graham to come up to the stage. So Prince, this is gonna be symbolic of us passing the torch, fella. And John Moreno is our witness of us passing the torch to another president. Jim was one of our board members for the African American Writers and Artists. And Jimmy Collins, his spirit is here because I feel it. And so we just want to pass the responsibility of African American writers and artists over to Prince. And Prince away. I'm going to light the torch. Well, all right. To pass the torch over to Prince Brown. If you want to accept it, you can light the torch to accept it. Yes. Here's the new president of African American. Thank you.
I would like to thank you, Sylvia, for being such a beautifully defiant source. You keeping this alive, against our lives, really. And you know that. So just thank you, and I'm gonna hold this baby really secure and just help it grow and pass all of our wildest dreams. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Woo. All right. Are you ready for some more poetry?
Yeah.
All right. I met this young man at the Chula Vista Veteran Center. He's a fellow veteran. He's a very nice visual artist. I watch him do his paintings every time I go there on Friday mornings. Please welcome also a very nice poet, very published poet. This is Jihmye Magno.
Thank you, Jim. Love the concept of the I'm a really good visual artist. A lot of fun to go there on Friday mornings and do my thing, big about it. Paint some things I would never take the time to own and just play with that stuff while hanging out with real cool people like Jim. This one's called Dear Valued. Relax, relax. You have not been brainwashed. Everything is under control. I say again, you have not been brainwashed. You have not been brainwashed. Recall how we declassify documents for you. Files we chose to disclose due to statutory stipulations. During a midnight climax, we tried and proved brainwashing doesn't work. Brainwashing doesn't work. We learned our lesson. We concluded it was unethical. We stopped trying. You have not been brainwashed. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will continue today's lesson by reading from George Orwell's 1984, beginning on page 68. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. In this work of unmistakably pure fiction, the party of undeniably evil communists conspired to control their constituents, deploying disinformation, deepening the divide between the people and the pernicious socialists. Synchronically systemizing societal Stockholm syndrome, we call this propaganda. It's very important to us that you understand what propaganda is. Propaganda is the lies our enemies tell, manipulating their moronic masses into compliance. But in the land of the free, because of the brave, our citizens are too sensible for such obvious chicanery. You're too smart to get scammed. Relax. You have not been brainwashed. You have not been brainwashed. Everything is under control. Free, fair elections ensure. We're looking out for your best interests. That's why we privatize prison, to keep you safe inside. The freest country in the world. Everything is under control. Everything is under control. Relax. Stop resisting. We wouldn't put you in a cage. Only those who would take advantage of you. Only those who would hurt you. Only the ones that attempt to cross the thin blue line of protection and service. Everything is under control. We interrupt this program to bring you breaking news. During our last 3 years of peace, we have spent over $400 billion, $400 billion on military aid. We spend this at no profit to ourselves. We spend this to help those in need. humanitarian aid. Our bombs save lives. War is peace. Relax, you have not been brainwashed. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah.
That one's a lot. I'm gonna see if I can get through this one. This one's called As with Frogs. Homeostasis, the tendency of a thing to maintain similar likeness, to force stillness by equal force. The tendency of a thing to fight change, to coordinate resistance against difference. A scratch in the skin, a breach of the perimeter, an invasion of borders. Coordinate resistance, stop the bleeding, patch the facade, locate and destroy foreign enemies. Homeostasis, the tendency of a thing to believe better dead than red. Allostasis, the process of a thing adjusting to maintain. Environmental equilibrium, the process of a thing becoming like its environment. The process of a thing becoming its environment. The skin over your bones, defining other, yet slowly matching its temperature. The air in your house becoming outside 1 degree at a time. Allostasis, the process of a thing succumbing to its environment. General adaptation syndrome, the tendency of a human to adapt to stress, to adjust, to maintain. The tendency of a human to slowly accept, this is my life now. General adaptation syndrome, the tendency of a frog to adapt to death while boiling in a pot 1 degree at a time. Everything in one pot, melting 1 degree at a time, adapting to death, becoming one. Sometimes all I can hear is everything fighting against becoming anything other. And sometimes when it's not loud enough, I can feel myself dying. When the waters are forced still enough, I can feel myself slowly drowning. The waters rising 1 degree at a time, being enveloped in totality, becoming one with the universe.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Somebody lost your glasses. Somebody lost your glasses.
Somebody lost their glasses? They're right here on the table. I have to say about Jihmye that when he and I were sworn into the military, we took a pledge to protect our nation from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And one of the reasons I do this is I consider our president a domestic enemy of our nation.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to continue to do this.
Manchurian candidate.
Carol Moscript is a fine writer. She's a very fine storyteller. And she got on my case because I didn't have her on the mailing list. And now you're on the mailing list. This is Carol Moscript.
Thank you, Jim, for putting me back on the mailing list. I'm very happy to be there. I once went to a therapist who had a small sandbox on a table. And the patients were invited to play with little dolls and position them and then talk about how they were positioned. Sandbox therapy. First, place the father on a little hillock of sand. Or should the mother be first, who didn't know what to do with me, so let me cry while she covered her ears. Where is the cradle of her arms that never was? Can I ask for a cradle that I so long to place on the father's knee? I make a hollow in the sand, and at his feet, and place the baby there. The mother must walk through a desert to join me. The father, angry at expenses, kicks the baby down the hill to my mother's feet as she approaches, made to walk from side to side with my hands. And now, giant that I am, I brush the grains from the tiny sandbox baby and cradle it in my palm, then crush it with my closed fist. At first, the parent dolls just stand there looking indifferent. Then I walk them away to their respective corners of the sandy ring. The therapist cannot provide tiny boxing gloves for Mama and Papa dolls, though I beg for them. It's all about placement, not the act of placing, she asserts. But I'm burying the baby head down in the sand with a violent gesture, I parry. She responds, its placement speaks to that. What if I place the baby first gently? Wouldn't that be different? I got her with that one, but she rallies. Either way, the baby is suffocating. No, I assert, time has passed. It's dead. It's the action of the placement that is a paramount here. She comes back at me. There can be no deaths in the sandbox, only dying. She had the last word this time. I am so tiny now, I can hardly boost myself over the lip of the sandbox, doll that I am now. I'm so small I go rolling over every dip and bump until I hit the bottom of a sandy crest. I lie there forever, dying in vain for someone to manipulate me into a new life. Back to the work of hefting dolls, just palm-sized, but heavy as the grenades lobbed at the dining room table by a manic who is the father. The mother, an expert in diffusing them most of the time. But now she misses, and the sand blows up in all directions. The therapist can't find me anywhere. Raid the truth. The whole sea is full of shadows to hide the anger of sailors stranded, lashed to the mast at all hours, mermaid mad. The hope is to find a diamond in the guts of the sacrificed whale to cripple the dreams of destinies turned inside out. They wring their hands as if practicing supplication. The scent of a perfume hatched in France, the whale's aphrodisiac, is a song. Thorns are inevitable, yet rarely split the heart, but stuck beyond reach. A gospel song, dreams of home, open to light, a rule of the planets, sing in the open. A rule of the spirit, hearts reuniting in the chosen music. Away from the bottle, the bowl, the dusty mirror, heart on hold for lunch, goal to take the table. Prayer is beside the point of no return. Peaceful waters are lake locked, not a peep. The birds have gone. Garden earth, seedless. Thank you.
I've just been told that they have another event coming on at 5:30 today. And we had a lot of trouble with this equipment going slow, setting up. We started 25 minutes late today. So we're gonna have to stop now. But please come next Sunday. In the four ports that didn't get to read today, Alistair, Anitra, Marjorie, and Leah, we will start with you in April. If you'll show up, we'll have you go on first. So this is our last coin. Sylvia's over here to sign books for you, if you want to do that. This is called The Blue Light Blues, and it starts with an epigram by Billy Collins. There is the sudden silence of the crowd above a motionless player on the field. The silence of the falling back bass before it strikes the floor. The silence of the moon. And here's your poem. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you. Is it possible that we as a nation have been holding our collective breaths since November 6, 2024? Oh, not the 1%, the filthy rich, who clap greedy hands, soiled by deception, falsehood, and divergence from absolute truth. Our collective blues include the luminous blue light of the seven sisters, whose tears are rains sprouting seeds of change. The silence of a falling nation, transforming, the belt falling way short, no longer beating the vulnerable child. The seven sisters, blue light teachers, remind us the greedy always self-destruct from lack of social graces, from the dis-ease of more, and the moon moves around the barn in a beautiful soft light, in the gravity of time, in the quiet breath of new promising days, in the pledge of a nation with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next month. Someone dropped a Visa credit card on the floor. And the name on the back is Waverly Madriaga. Waverly, are you still here?
Close this down. Just give it to, I'll give it here, I'll give it to,
Okay, I'm so sorry about that.